Hey everyone, welcome to today's Explainer. I am genuinely so pumped to be with you right now because we're tackling one of the most frustrating, just completely head-scratching paradoxes out there. I mean, we're talking about earning a whole lot of money, but somehow keeping very little of it. Have you ever felt that way? Today, we're breaking down the framework of Laura Tynan. She's a chartered accountant who actually turned into a financial empowerment coach, bringing over 15 years of experience in the hard finance space. And honestly, her approach is incredibly refreshing because it bridges the gap between mindset coaching and real practical finance. We're going to look at exactly how to build lasting wealth, but not from the outside in. We're doing it from the inside out. Okay, let's dive into this because this question hits right at the emotional core of the frustration so many high-earning professionals face. Think about it. You get the big promotion, you scale your business, you bring in more revenue than you quite literally ever have before. But then, you look at your bank account at the end of the month and somehow, the money has just slipped through your fingers. You feel like you're perpetually starting over. It's exhausting, isn't it? It feels like no matter how fast you run on that treadmill, you just aren't actually moving forward. If that resonates with you, I want to validate that frustration right now. We are culturally conditioned, so deeply conditioned, to believe that a massive paycheck is the exact same thing as actual lasting wealth. But spoiler alert, it's not. Earning well is really just one piece of a much larger puzzle. Being a high-income earner simply means you have a large cash flow. True wealth, that is a whole different ballgame. Which brings us nicely to the first major concept of Laura's philosophy. Section 1, income does not equal wealth. So, if the income itself isn't the sole answer, where on earth do we look? Well, we pivot inward. Section 2, your inner financial reality. And this brilliantly illustrates the core issue. Real wealth isn't just about what you manage to earn in a given 12-month period. It's strictly about what you build, what you keep, and what you invest over time to give yourself actual options and freedom. But to get there, we absolutely have to pivot away from the spreadsheets for a second and look inward. Your outer financial world is always a reflection of your inner beliefs. Get this, a staggering 90 to 95% of your financial results are driven by deeply held subconscious beliefs. And crazy enough, many of those were formed before you were even 7 years old. Only about 5% of your results actually come from your conscious, rational mind. It's the ultimate iceberg metaphor. You can hustle all you want. You can work 80-hour weeks. But if your subconscious is running a counter-program, no amount of conscious effort is going to create lasting change. One of the most insidious subconscious programs running in the background, particularly for women according to Laura, is what she calls good girl programming. It's this deep, almost invisible cultural conditioning to always be nice, endlessly likable, completely undemanding, and ultimately self-sacrificing. Now, it sounds like a great recipe for winning a popularity contest, right? But financially, it is a quiet, devastating drain on your power. So how does this actually show up in everyday life? Well, are you sitting there not negotiating your salary simply because you don't want to seem difficult? Are you undercharging for your business services because you feel bad? Do you give money away just to keep the peace in your family or your friend group? Maybe you completely lack financial boundaries. Or perhaps you're unconsciously waiting for someone else, a partner, a new boss, or just the universe to magically step in and fix your finances. If you're doing any of these things, you are literally outsourcing your financial power. Once we identify those deeply ingrained programs, we have to figure out what we actually want. That brings us to Section 3, ego versus soul desires. We've got to diagnose your true motivations here. We need to separate what you genuinely want from what society has conditioned you to think you should want. Ego desires, they're loud, they're urgent, they are entirely comparative and completely driven by what other people think of you. It's the flashy car, the designer label, the big status symbol. Soul desires, on the other hand, are quiet. They feel deeply aligned and belong entirely to you. A soul desire is having the ultimate freedom to choose how your day goes. It's having a calm nervous system when you look at your bank account, rather than a spike of anxiety. Money is just the vehicle here. The soul desire, that profound feeling of freedom and peace, is your actual destination. To figure out which side of the fence your current financial goals sit on, you can apply this simple but profoundly effective litmus test. Ask yourself honestly right now, if nobody could ever see or know about this, would I still want it? If literally no one saw the house, the car, the luxury vacation, would it still fulfill you? If your answer is yes, then you're pursuing a soul desire and you should go after it absolutely unapologetically.
But what happens when you know exactly what you want, but you just can't seem to get there? That brings us to section 4, confronting your hidden resistance. This is where Laura's approach gets incredibly powerful because she completely rejects the whole toxic positivity movement. You can't just slap a happy smiley face sticker over your deep financial blocks. If your goal isn't materializing, there's a misalignment you have to face head on. Instead of forcing a fake smile, let's move to and see how this builds with a specific diagnostic exercise. Step 1, write down one single financial goal. Step 2, list 5 reasons you genuinely think it's impossible for you to achieve it. Now, step 3 is where the magic happens. Analyze reason number 3. Why 3? Because the first 2 reasons are usually just surface level, logical excuses your brain feeds you. By the time your brain hits number 3, it's actually digging into your deep subconscious programming.
And here is what usually pops up for reason number 3. It's things like, I don't have the proper education or the right backgrounds to pull this off. Or maybe, I'm starting way too late in life, I completely missed the boat. Or a massive one, I'm terrified of the judgment I'll face from my peers if I change my financial status. This third reason, this is the heavy anchor holding you in place. This is your true hidden subconscious resistance. Now, if you just uncovered a really harsh truth about yourself doing that, take a breath. It's okay. Acknowledging your resistance without shame is not a defeat. Finding out what's actually blocking you is a massive victory. It's the absolute, mandatory first step to removing that block forever. After all, you can't fight an enemy you refuse to see. Now that we've diagnosed the inner blocks, we can move into the final cure phase of this explainer, where the inner work meets practical, hard-hitting financial strategy. Section 5, the CREATE Wealth Framework. Before we break down the acronym, consider this quote from the framework. Female empowerment without money is just talk. Boom, what a phenomenal truth-telling punch. The freedom to decide where you live, who you spend your precious time with, the work you do, all of it practically requires financial independence. Without capital, empowerment is just an aspirational buzzword. This is exactly why financial education isn't just a nice to have. It is profoundly personal and, frankly, fiercely political. So, the crucial point is, investing is non-negotiable. This framework does not treat investing as some optional, advanced strategy you'll get to later in life when you feel like it. It is central to the entire philosophy. Your money has to be put to work for you. It cannot just sit idle in a checking account waiting for you to pay the light bill. Actively building assets is the absolute dividing line between someone who just earns a high income and someone who is a true long-term wealth builder. And here is exactly how you do it, all encapsulated in the 6 pillars of the CREATE framework. First, clarity, defining what your soul deeply wants. Next, recognize, identifying those subconscious blocks and the resistance we talked about. Elevate, doing the hard inner work to align your beliefs with your desires. Action, taking intentional, aligned steps forward. Thrive, this is the critical investing phase, building assets and making your money work. And finally, expand, continuing to grow, give, and compound your amazing results. It really is the perfect marriage of consciousness and competence. To bring it all together for you, real wealth starts inside. Mindset work plus practical structures equals lasting wealth. You simply cannot skip the mindset work and jump straight to the shiny money tactics, because the tactics will never, ever stick if your subconscious is secretly fighting them. You have to know what you want, believe down to your bones that you actually deserve it, and then build the practical structures to execute it. I want to leave you with one final, deeply provocative question to chew on today. Look at your bank account, look at your daily habits, and ask yourself honestly, is your financial life currently being driven by your soul's authentic desire for freedom, or is it being hijacked by a subconscious program that's designed to keep you stuck? The answer to that question literally changes everything. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep doing that inner work, and I'll catch you next time.